Today what we will do, we are going to solve the previous year questions related to conditional probability, right? So in previous lecture, what we have done in the third lecture, we have discussed about the basics of conditional probability and the independent events, and I have solved only two related examples on the conditional probability, right? So let's get started with the previous year questions. So this is the first set of question we have. So this came in 2015 for the civil engineering. Okay, so it is said that the 4 cards are randomly selected from a pack of 52 cards. If the first 2 cards are kings, what is the probability that the third card is a king? Okay, so now here it is mentioned that you are drawing the cards simultaneously, because the first 2 cards are kings. That means the drawings are made or performed one by one. Okay, so you have to be careful. So 52 cards are there in the deck. Okay, so let us draw the first king. So probability of getting the first king will be definitely 4 out of 52, right? So if this is not kept back to the deck of cards, so what you will do, probability of getting the second king given the first draw is a king will be what? 3 out of 51, right? So now let's go for the third card is a king. Okay, so that means the probability of getting the third king given the first two draws are kings. Okay, so this will be what? 2 out of 50, right? So this is the option, and the other will not be the solution definitely, because these are not suitable for the solution, right? So, and one of the things that these two previous events are performed without replacement definitely. So that's why we are getting the conditional probability. And here for your consideration I will write if. That means here it is given that should be assumed here. Okay, given that the first 2 cards are kings, then the probability, what is the conditional probability that the third card is a king? Okay, so now let's go to the second question. So it came in 2014 for the mechanical. A box contains 25 parts, of which 10 are defective. Okay, so from this data we get that 10 are defective and 15 are non-defective or good items, let us say. Okay, so in the probability question, what you will do, from the statement you just draw the conclusion first. Okay, so 2 parts are being drawn simultaneously. Okay, simultaneously in a random manner from the box. So this is not related to conditional probability. First of all, you remember this one. Okay, right? Simultaneously in a random manner from the box. The probability of both the parts being good. Being good means you have 15 good items or non-defective items. So let me just say this, assume this as the event E. So probability of getting both the parts being good as will be 15 C2 divided by 25 C2. Okay, so this is your 15 factorial divided by 2 factorial, 13 factorial, and your 2 factorial, 23 factorial divided by 25 factorial. Okay, so if I'll just cancel out the terms, I'll get your 14, 15 divided by what? 24 and 25. Okay, I'm just cancelling out the terms. Okay, so here you will get your 3, this is your 5, you cancel it out, this is 8, this is 7 and 4. Okay, so finally you will get your 7 by 20 as the solution. Okay, this is the solution. Fine. So now let's go for the second set of questions we have. So this came in 2018 for the CSE. Okay, so 2 people P and Q decide to independently roll 2 identical dice. Okay, independently they are rolling the dice. Okay, roll 2 identical dice, each with faces numbered 1 to 6. Okay, so that means they have the fair dice definitely. The person with the lower number wins, in case of a tie, they roll the dice repeatedly until there is no tie. Okay, so this is also an important set of information we have, useful set of information. Okay, so if they have a tie, they will just repeat the experiment until they will get no tie. That means one of them will definitely win in that last experiment or the last event. Okay, so define a trial as a throw of the dice by P and Q. Okay, assume that all 6 numbers on each dice are equiprobable. Equiprobable means probability of getting any of the outcome will be 1 by 6. Let us say your probability of getting 1 as 6, 1 is 1 by 6, then definitely probability of getting 6 is also 1 out of 6 while rolling a fair die. Okay, and this is related to your fair die definitely, and that all the trials are independent. Okay, so independent means this is related to your independent events, the probability that one of them wins on the third trial. Okay, so if one of them will win on the third trial, that means they have no tie in this information. Okay, from this information you can draw the conclusion that if one of them wins on the third trial, that means they have no ties, and before this, that means in the previous 2 attempts they have the, or in the previous 2 trials they have the same outcomes. Okay, so to get the solution, let us say a probability of one of them wins on the third trial will be what? Probability of ties of P and Q in previous 2 attempts. Previous 2 attempts, let me just mention here. Okay, I am multiplied by your probability that one of them wins, or I will write from this information no tie of P and Q, because these are the independent events. You have to take the product of these two. Okay, so ties of P and Q will refer to what? 1 1 2 2 3 3 up to your 6 6. That means there are 6 favorable cases or in favor of the ties of P and Q, which is your 6 out of 36. Okay, because you have 2 ties, means in 2 trials you are getting the ties, so that means you have to take your square of this 2, because these are the independent trials. Okay, and if there will be no tie, that means this is the complementary event of the ties of P and Q, which is your 1 minus 1 by 6. Okay, so I should have written 1 by 6. Okay, so here directly I am writing this is as 5 by 216, and let me get a calculator. So this will be 5 out of 216 is 0.023, right? So rounded up to 3 decimal places it is given, so you consider this as a solution. Okay, so now let's go for the second question we have. So it came in 2016 for CSE. Consider the following experiment: flip a fair coin twice. So as a layman, if I'll say we have 4 outcomes, your HH, HT, TH and TT. Okay, or the tails and tails, right? So the step 2 is if the outcomes are tails and heads, then output is Y and you have to stop the experiment or to stop the program. Okay, so that means if you'll get the outcome as tails and heads, so your output will be Y. Okay, so again if I'll be a layman, so the solution will be, so you look at this last line, the probability that the output of the experiment is Y is what? Okay, so as a layman, if I'll find the probability, I will directly say that 1 by 4 or 0.25. Okay, but that will be wrong. You look at this question, step 3, if the outcomes are either heads or heads tails, okay, that means your heads or heads tails, the output will be N and you have to terminate the experiment. Okay, then if the outcomes are tails and tails, then go to the step 1. Okay, so then you go to the step 1 and you have to flip the fair coin twice again. Okay, so that means what? You have to avoid this one. If you just keep it, then you have to flip the coin, and the chances of getting tails and heads will not be there. Okay, if you are drawing the fair coin twice. Okay, so that's why what you will do, you have to discard this one to avoid repetition. Okay, let us say you to avoid step 1, if I'll just draw the again if I'll just flip the coin again twice, the fair coin, that means I will have the chance I will have a different set of outcomes rather than getting tails and heads. So that means what? This will be your restricted sample space now. Okay. So probability of getting the output as y will be what? 1 out of 3, discarding this tails and tails. Okay, you have to remember this. So up to 2 decimal places it is asking, so this will be your 0.33. Similarly, let us find for the n also. So n is quite simple, it's 2 out of 3. Probability of getting the output as n will be 2 out of 3 or 0.66. okay, sorry, not 0.66, you round off. Okay, 0.67. so this is your 0.33, which is asked in the question. Okay, so now let's go to the next set of question we have. So this came in 2017 for the CAC again. Okay, P and Q are considering to apply for a job. The probability that P applies for the job is 1 by 4. The probability that P applies for the job given that Q applies for the job is 1 by 2. Okay, so you have the events of applying for the job of P and Q, right? So what you do, you let A be the event that your P applies for the job. Okay. And B as your Q applies for the job. Right? So now the probability that P applies for the job is 1 by 4. That means your probability of A is given as 1 by 4. Okay, and the next one is the conditional probability, because it is given as a given that. Okay, the probability that P applies for the job given that Q applies for the job, that means your probability of A given B is your 1 by 2. There is 50% probability. Okay, the probability that Q applies for the job given that P applies for the job is 1 by 3. That means probability of B given A is 1 by 3. Now the question, then the probability that P does not apply for the job given that Q does not apply for the job. So our objective is what? Probability that P does not apply for the job given that Q does not apply for the job. Okay, the complementary event of these two. Okay, so that means as per the conditional probability, we know that we are supposed to find here probability of A complement intersection B complement divided by probability of B complement, right? Which will be your probability of A union B complement as per the De Morgan's law. You all know this. Okay, for the numerator, and probability of B complement. So this will be what? 1 minus probability of A union B divided by 1 minus probability of B. Okay, so now we have the data for your probability of A, but we don't have the probability of B and the probability of A union B. Okay, so what do we need? The prerequisites are probability of B and probability of A intersection B, right? So from this I'll get back to the multiplication theorem of of conditional probability. We know that your probability of A intersection B is what? By using this two, I will get to the probability of A intersection B. This is your probability of A multiplied by your probability of B given A, right? So it will be what? 1 by 12 definitely, right? So now let's go for this conditional probability. That means your probability of A given B. Okay, so this will be your probability of A intersection B divided by your probability of B, which is of course given as 1 by 2. Okay, so if this is 1 by 12, then probability of B is 1 by 6. So this is just a simple calculation you have to perform here. Okay, so 1 minus 1 by 4 probability of A plus probability of B minus probability of A intersection B divided by 1 minus 1 by 6. Okay, so here what you'll get, 3 by 12, 2 by 12, 5 minus 1 is 4 by 12, 1 by 3 is your 2 by 3 divided by your 5 by 6, and of course if you cancel out, you will get your 4 by 5. Okay, you prepare the note means not like this. I because I don't have the space, I am preparing like this. Okay, you prepare it neat and clean. So this one came for ECE, or the Electronics and Communication Engineering, in 2007. An examination consists of 2 papers, paper 1 and paper 2. The probability of failing in paper 1 is 0.3 and the probability and that in paper 2 is 0.2. That means we can given that a student has failed in paper 2, then the probability of failing in paper 1 is 0.6. Okay, so this is quite easy. You consider two events. Let us say your A as the failing in paper 1. Okay, and the second one as a failing in paper 2. Okay, and I think you can solve it. I am not going to solve this one. You let me know the solution. Okay, the sufficient information is given here. The probability of the student failing in both the papers, that means you are going to find A intersection B, probability of A intersection B. Okay, using the conditional probability. Here we have. So the next set of question here is it came in electrical in 2015. Okay, so two players A and B alternatively keep rolling a fair dice. The person to get a 6 first wins the game. Okay, given that player A starts the game, the probability that A wins the game. See, this is quite related to if I recall, this is related to the Huygens problem. Okay, Huygen. Okay, Huygens problem. So Huygens problem says that what two players are keep doing something. Okay, let us say keep doing an experiment. Like here we are rolling a die or drawing a card from a deck of cards, or I will say they are tossing a coin. Okay, so this kind of problems are related to your Huygens problem. The person to get a 6 first wins the game. Given that the player A starts the game, the probability that A wins the game. So the probability of winning is what? The probability of getting a 6. Okay, so probability of getting a 6 is 1 out of 6. We all know for a fair die. Okay, so how you will proceed? I will just write the cases and the corresponding probability. Okay, in each of the question you have to follow up this one. Okay, so either the question can also be said that given that the player A starts the game, the probability that B wins the game. Okay, so this kind of twist will be there in your gate definitely. Okay, so let us say the first one as the A starts the game. Okay, given that A starts the game and A wins, I will write wherever the A wins. Okay, with a bracket. So this is with the probability of 1 by 6 definitely. So let's go for the second set of trials. That means your A loses the game, A starts the game and A doesn't win the game. Then your B also lose and your A wins on the third trial. Okay, right? So probability of losing is what? This is the complementary event of getting a 6. That means this will be your 5 by 6 squared and 1 by 6. They will be independently rolling the fair dice. Okay, then the third set of trials will be your A complement, B complement, then your A complement, because A already won in the second set of trials we have, then your B complement and A. Here A wins on the fifth attempt. Okay, so the probability of losing the game is your 5 by 6 to the power 4 here, because these are 4 times both the players have lost. Okay, then 1 by 6, which is the A wins the game. Okay, similarly let's go for the last means one of the set of trials. Then it will be just to go on infinitely. Okay, so A complement, B complement, A complement, B complement. Okay, A and B complement. Okay, then your A wins. That means what happened? A and both will lose for your 6 times, and in the 7th attempt A will win the game. Okay, because A is winning every time. Okay, so 5 by 6 to the power 6 and 1 by 6. Okay, so these are all the mutually exclusive events. Or the disjoint events, I will say. So the probability of that A wins the game, given that A starts the game. Okay, so this will be what we have to take the sum of all the probabilities. Okay, so 1 by 6 plus, so can you take the 1 by 6 common in both, in all the trials you have. Okay, so this will be performed infinite times because you don't know when you will win. Okay, so 1 plus 5 by 6 squared plus 5 by 6 to the power 4 plus 5 by 6 to the power 6 and so on. So basically what happened here, you are getting a series which is called your geometric series. Okay, so geometric series I will write here. So geometric series is generally here, this is the form of 1 by 1 minus x, okay, which is your 1 plus x squared plus so on. In compact form it is written as your x to the power n only, and n running from your 0 to infinity. This is convergent if your the mod of x or the absolute value of x is less than 1, not equals to. If it will be 1, then it will be undefined. Okay, so the absolute value of x should be less than 1, it will lie between minus 1 to 1. Okay, so the solution here will be 1 by 6 because 5 by 6 squared is the x here. Okay, 1 plus 5 by 6 squared, then your 5 by 6 to the power 4, accordingly it will just find you an infinite series. So 1 by 6 and 1 by 1 minus 5 by 6 squared, okay, which will be what? So 36 will go up, if I'll cancel out I'll get your 6, and divided by 36 minus 25 is your 11. Okay, so 6 by 11 will be the solution, right? And this question I have already checked, this is very easy, you go on solving this one. The chance of a student passing an exam is 20%. The chance of a student passing the exam, and here you should have a full stop here. Okay, passing the exam and getting above 90% is in it is 5%, given that the student passes the exam. So this is the preceding event we have, passing the exam. The probability that the student gets above 90% marks, that means this is the following events. So this is just as simple as that, 5% by 20% or 0.5 by 0.05 by 0.2. Okay, which will be 1 out of 4 probably, you check. Okay, so this came in mechanical in 2013. Okay, the probability that a student knows the correct answer to a multiple choice question is 2 by 3. That means if it has say your 6 questions, so out of that he knows, or the student knows 2/3, means 4 questions he knows the answer. Okay, if the student doesn't know the answer, then the student guesses the answer. Okay, so and the probability of the guessed answer being correct is 1 by 4. Okay, so let us say your n MCQs are there, and out of which 2/3 he knows the answer. Okay, and 1/3 he doesn't know definitely. Okay, so the student knows the answer, knows the correct answer, of course. This would be the phrase. Okay, knows the correct answer is 2n by 3, right? So and he doesn't know and will guess definitely. Okay, doesn't know the correct answer is your n by 3, right? And the probability of the guessed answer, and then the student guesses the answer for the questions those he doesn't know. Okay, the probability of the guessed answer being correct is 1 by 4. That means 1/4 of this question will be correct. Okay, so this is your correct guesses. Okay, or n by 12 I will say. Okay, given that the student has answered the question correctly, that means given that this is the preceding event we have, so let me just say probability of the student has answered correctly, answered the question correctly, and let me assume this as the first event or preceding event as ASA. Okay, so this will be what? These are the, he knows the answer is 2n by 3, and with the correct guesses also he get the answer correct. Okay, so that's why this will be a sum of these two. Okay, 2n by 3 plus n by 12. Okay, which will be what? Here you do have your 8n by 12, and this will be 9n by 12. That means your 3n by 4. Okay, so these are the questions. this is the probability of getting the student has answered the question correctly. Then the conditional probability that the student knows the correct answer. Okay, so it means this is the following event we have. Let me just write here. So this is the following event we have, and I will consider this as B, or this is the following event. Okay, so the probability that B given A is asking you. Okay, so which is your 2n by 3 divided by 3n by 4. Okay, so this is definitely 2n by 3 is common for both A and B, right? Because here also you have the 2n by 3, and here also you will have the 2n by 3. Okay, so if you will just cancel out few terms, you will get your this 9 and 8. Okay, 8 by 9. Okay, there will be no cancelling out. Okay, so this is your solution. Okay, so this question can also be twisted many ways. Okay, so if I'll say that the student given that the student has answered the question correctly, the conditional probability that the student doesn't know the correct answer. Okay, so this will be your n by 3 divided by 3n by 4. Okay, so there will be a twist in questions. Okay, so this question came in 2017 for electrical. Okay, an urn contains 5 red and 5 black balls. Okay, so let us just take here 5 red and 5 black balls. Okay, right, so this is the urn we will consider. In the first row it is already told, that means definitely it is related to conditional or the independent events. Okay, so in the first row, one ball is picked at random and discarded without noticing its color. So this phrase is very important. Okay, discarded without noticing its color. The probability to get a red ball in the second row is what? So what happened if there will be rejection or the discard in the first row? That means you will have two choices. Okay, you have two choices. This question is basically asked you in a very peculiar way. This is a twist in the conditional probability. Okay, so probability of getting the red in first row will be what? 5 out of 10 or 1 by 2. Okay, similarly the probability of getting the black in first row is your again 1 by 2, 5 out of 10. Okay, so what happened if these are discarded? That means if these are discarded, what so we'll go for the second row from each of these cases. Okay, so for the second case, what will happen? The probability of getting the red in second row given the first row is red. Okay, that means your red 1 is your what? 4 out of 9, because you do have your 4 red here. Okay, 4 red and 5 black, and here you will be left with your 5 red and what? 4 black, right? So now from the second case, probability of getting the red in second row given black in first row, okay, will be what? 5 out of 9, because in the restricted sample space you have 5 red balls. Okay, so now these are definitely performed without replacement, because something is discarded out of the while after the first row. Okay, I will write this as the without replacement. So that's why you have got the restricted sample space. I should have written it first. Okay, so next, the probability that this red ball in the second row is what? Okay, so this will be what? The probability of getting the red ball or the red in second row irrespective of the first row. Okay, irrespective of the first row. Now see what you will do. You go for the case wise. So for the first case you have this conditional probability, and for the second case you have this conditional probability. So these are the mutually disjoint events. Okay, so that's why what you will do, you have to take the sum of these two, because something is discarded, you don't have the prior information of the first row. Okay, so what you will do, the probability of getting the red, so should I write? So directly I am just writing the multiplication as per the multiplication theorem of probability. Okay, so that means this is what? The probability of getting red in second row and a red in first row. Okay, plus the probability of getting the red in second row and your black in first row. Okay, so these are the cases we have. and this will be what, 1 by 2. In both the cases we have 1 by 2 4 by 9, then plus 1 by 2 5 by 9, and definitely you will get your 1 by 2. Okay, so this is the solution we have. Okay, so now let's